everyone, my name is Helene and I am back with 3 book reviews. These 3 books actually have something in common, and that is that they are all they are all winners of the Man Booker Prize, which is very interesting, and that's exactly why I'm going to do this combined book review. I wanted to read the books and compare them and see if there is anything extraordinary about these stories. Now let's start in chronological order. The very first book is Julian Barnes's The Sense of an Ending. I'm pretty sure this was the winner of 2011, but I'm too lazy to do my research. First of all, let me give you a brief synopsis. This is about Tony Webster, a man who is in his 60s, I think. He reflects on his life and he tells the reader about things that have happened during his years at the university, with his friends and with his family, and basically this is a recap of his life. However, there is a twist, and that is that the reader realizes that the narrator is unreliable and we cannot trust anything that he has told us throughout the book. I felt like the main character was a little bit difficult to get into and connect with. Maybe it's because he's a man and he's 60 years old, I don't know, but to me personally, I had a hard time identifying with him and I didn't really like him, so that was a problem. But at the same time, I did appreciate his story and I was captivated by this book. I've talked with a lot of people who love this book and they love this main character, so don't take my word for... Don't just listen to my opinion, try and listen to other people's opinions as well, and then maybe read the book. Is this book extraordinary in any way? It is a little bit, I think, because it is original, but at the same time it's not. It's not the first time I read a book with an unreliable narrator. Normally I love these kinds of narrator because I love being confused as a reader and then figuring out things in the end. And you do figure out things in the end in this book. There is a twist in the end. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that's the twist that I believe made this book win the prize, because it's a pretty great twist. And it's a short novel, so if you have any interest in this book, then just pick it up, because I know so many people who absolutely love it and it won't take you more than a few hours to read it. So definitely worth a read, but not my favorite one of the bunch, and I gave this one 3 stars. Let's move on to the second book I had to review, and that is the winner of the Man Booker Prize in 2013, and that is a gigantic book. I'm talking about The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. First of all, let me just for the fun of it try to compare this book to this book. Look at this. This is one big contrast. So I think we can definitely agree that the Man Booker Prize is not given to small books or large books. It differs from year to year. However, this book I finished last night. It is 823 pages, so I must admit it took me some time to get the courage to actually pick it up and read it. However, I did that last week and I finished it, as I said, last night. This book deals with gold diggers in New Zealand back in the 1800s, and we follow a main character called Walter Moody. However, this story is not at all by Walter Moody. He kind of sets the frame for the story, but the story is not about him. I have never been so confused when reading a book. It took me so many pages to really capture and grasp what was going on. Who are these characters? How are they related? And actually you don't really realize what the bigger picture is until the very last pages. So don't be discouraged when reading this book. It will take some time to get into, but it is so worth it in the end. This is a unique story. I've never read anything like this before. I have been kind of scared of doing this video review of this book because it's so hard to explain what happens. I don't want to spoil too much, but at the same time I'm not sure I would be able to actually give you a synopsis because I'm not sure of it myself. Yes, I am pretty confident now that I have read it, but throughout the whole novel I had no idea where this was going, and that frustrated me at times, but at other times I really appreciated it because this book played with my mind, and that's what it does to you. The structure of this book follows the moon and the moon cycle, so that the very first chapters are enormous. They are like 300 pages long, and they have a one-line introduction. However, the very last chapters are like a half page long and they have several lines of introduction. So we have this structure that makes sense because it all becomes this big picture. It all becomes this great story that has so much depth in it, and I think you have to read this book several times because I didn't really understand everything that was going on, and I'm still not sure I know what this book is actually about. I was a little bit afraid of doing this video review because this is one of those books that you don't know how to explain. You just have to read it and judge for yourself. I will though refer you to my Goodreads review because I think that I did manage to write down in words what I felt about this book and how I felt about it. So if you're interested to know more about it, why it is this fantastic tale, then go read my Goodreads review. I will put a link to it down below. But needless to say, anything more than I gave this book 4 stars. Let's move on to the very last book of the bunch, and that is the winner of the Man Booker Prize in 2014, The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Richard Flanagan. This is a book about a bunch of Japanese prisoners of war during the Second World War. These men are all from Australia. However, we follow them as they are enslaved in Japan, building this railroad, and obviously they are not being treated very well. This is a horrible and macabre kind of story. However, it is a true story and I loved that. Not that I love the fact that people have been tortured and enslaved, but I love that a book stays true to the story and that it gives us a realistic view on how things were. Now, I do realize this is fiction. I don't think this is written by a man who actually participated in the war in any way, but it still seems so true when you read it. It seems like this is something you can believe in. It goes straight to your heart and it has some cruel scenes in it. I was horrified when reading some of these scenes. Now, this book is not only about the war. We also follow some of the men's reflections on their prior life and some of their loves back in Australia. And I loved that touch because I'm a girl. I like to have some kind of romance in my books, and I like that this is a combination of both war but also love. Why did this book win the Man Booker Prize? Well, I think it is both because of the story but also because of the writing style. This book is written in an impressionistic way, so it is written like how you feel and see things. It is very impressionistic and I loved that. It is so jumbled, and as a reader it can be hard to get into the book in the beginning, but once you are into the story, it just flows. It's amazing and I really appreciated this way of writing. And also, as I said, some of the stories really horrified me, but I appreciated them a lot, and so I gave this book 4 stars. That is it for my reviews today. I would say that all in all, these 3 books were quite amazing because they played with my mind. And also, one very important thing is that they challenged me as a reader. These are not easy reads. You have to reflect and you have to make sure to spend some time on these books because they will stick to your mind for several months afterwards. I like that about books. If you like that, then maybe these books are something for you. I'm definitely interested to read more of the Man Booker Prize winners in the upcoming years because I do believe they have something unique and interesting about them. Thank you so much for watching and happy reading. Bye bye.